Hey guys, and welcome to season 3 of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and in this season, I get to make my guests laugh, cry, and even make them think about life a little differently with the questions I fire over to them, which digs into their lives and professions a little differently. We even had a chance to change up the intro, giving you a fresh, new sound. I look forward to sharing season 3 of the Us People podcast with you. Let's go.
Hi, this is Joy Langley, and I'm the author of Navigating Stress. And you're listening to the Us People podcast with Savia Rocks.
That was easy. That was easy.
Professional, darling. I'm a professional.
I like it. There you go.
Made up my mind, now is my time to shine. Now is my time to shine. Time that you let go, time that you let go.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and today I am extremely humbled to have Joy Langley here with me. Joy is an author, coach, speaker, and psychotherapist. Joy has actually been on the show. Joy is the first guest to come on the show twice, which is look at her face. It's absolutely brilliant. But today's going to be a little different. The reason why is because Joy recently brought out a book, and I really do want to share this with you guys. It's called Navigating Stress. But before we get into that, Joy, I want to welcome you again onto the Us People podcast show. Thank you for being a guest twice on the show. How are you doing?
Well, I was doing well before I came on. Now I'm even better. I didn't realise that.
See,
exciting.
I like that. So how have things changed for you since the last time we had an interview together?
Wow. Well, I've got my business life on the go, and then everyone's got their personal life on the go. So things changed a lot in my personal life, dare I say it, but more to do with the fact that people die. And I've had a couple of really close bereavements recently, which I won't say they've knocked me off my feet, but they've certainly been very, very challenging. So that will be a big thing that's happened. Business-wise, as you said, the book. My God, I have been so under the pressure of getting that book finished, but I did it. So that is one of my biggest achievements in between the last time we spoke and now.
What made you actually decide to say, okay, from what I do every day to a book opportunity coming your way, what made you decide to write this book?
I think everybody does have a book inside of them, Savia, and I always say to you that if someone can open and shut their mouth and have a conversation with someone, actually they can write a book. I like books that are conversational, so that's the way I write. But we all, I suppose, because we read a lot, read things, we think there's one way to write something.
Yeah.
But really, you have to be thinking about your audience. And if you can write in a way that when they read it, it sounds like you, then you've won. And I've been getting some really good feedback about my book from, friends and family, and just saying, Joy, it sounds like you're talking to me. And I think, hey, I did it. So I'm happy.
That sounds good to me. So let's talk about navigating stress. Let's go right into the book. So we have navigating stress. There are so many things that I wrote down. The experience of stress, how to deal with stress, what makes stress come into your life. So could you talk to me just in your words about what navigating stress is before I go on some of the bulletin points that I thought people would really relate to?
Yeah, sounds good, Savia. But I just wanted to say, when does my 30-minute challenge buzzer start?
Oh, it started.
Right. Okay. Ding.
It started.
Right. Okay. So all about stress. So as Savia said, I'm an author and a coach, therapist, and speaker as well. I've got some speaking engagements coming up on Zoom. So that's the way the modern world has gone. So talking about stress, I know that stress is something that we all face. It's not something you're ever going to get rid of. All right. It's your body's natural defense for when things go wrong, especially if you're in danger. You do need that stress response to be triggered in your body. And we all know when it's happening. We get lots of physical signs. We might have a rumbly tummy or butterflies in our tummy. We might get our heart racing. I often find myself dashing off to the toilet. You can get very, very, let's say, you can get headaches, blurry eyes, problems with, your tension in your body, sweating. There's a lot of physical things that happen simply because in your brain, you've been stressed.
Mm.
So you've seen something that's dangerous, you've heard something that's dangerous, or you just generally in your mind, you can actually just sit there and imagine something bad and you will trigger the stress response, Savia. Did you know that?
You know what? I learned it from your book, but before that, I didn't. I didn't understand where stress came from and why we get stressed. Generally, obviously, because meditation is a very big part of my life, I use meditation to stop stress triggering into my life. So that helped me so far. But before I did that, yes, I got stressed, but I never understood where it was coming from.
Okay, I've done a good job then, Savvy, if that's the case.
You
And
have.
I like the fact that you said you find a way to manage that whole stress response, it being triggered perhaps too often or calming your body down, that you said meditation helps. And I think that's one of the solutions at the end of it. But I know way, way, way before that, which I hope you picked up and I hope readers will pick up too from the book, is that you have to understand the cycle that you get into. So you have to recognize that when you think something, you feel something.
True.
And then perhaps when you felt something, you end up doing something.
Mhm.
So I call it my T cycle because I like the T for thoughts, the E for emotions, and the A for actions because I'm just very simple minded. I like to, it's really, if you look at a book, you might find thoughts, you might find emotions, you might find behaviors. But TEB doesn't mean anything to me. If it said TED, I could TED, I could remember that. But this is tea. This is tea, cup of tea, very English, Savia.
I have too much sugar in my tea, actually.
That's okay.
So, one of the other questions I did want to ask you is being able to accept stress. Because a lot of people don't accept stress, and that makes the situation within our body worse. So, can you talk to me about accepting stress and some of the things we should do to accept stress?
Okay, Savia. I mean, the word accepting stress, everyone would be like screaming at you now, like,
Yeah,
Savia, what are you saying? I don't want
I
stress.
know.
And I'm first in the queue, be quite honest, bashing you up now. I don't want stress necessarily, Savia. Because really and truly, if life is going along quite swimmingly, you're going in and out of things that are challenging and you're rising to that, and then you're coming out of it and doing it again. So stress is actually ever present because it's the thing that we need. Our body needs it to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
We have a hormone called cortisol. And if you were speaking to, someone who understands about the body, they'll say that it's at its highest point in the morning, or it's beginning to climb, not highest point. It's probably beginning to climb in the morning. So that means that this hormone, which is normally part of that huge fight and flight response that we have, is there in the mornings. So some people say to me when I'm working with clients, why do I feel so anxious in the mornings? Why do I wake up and I'm thinking, okay, beyond you examining what are you thinking, because we jump straight into things in the morning, especially like looking straight at our phones and getting what terrible news there is straight. You haven't even opened your eyes and you're learning about this terrible thing happening in that part of the world or something bad happening down the road, or you're getting yourself into fear mode first thing in the morning, which means you're going to be telling your body there's something wrong,
Yeah.
which means you're going to feel stressed. Okay. But also this whole thing about stress, it's part of life. Like I said, you do need it to wake up in the mornings.
Yeah.
But throughout your day, there'll be lots of events, lots of situations, so people, places, things that are going to be challenging for you. And I want you to examine that word stress as well that you use, because it's to do with, challenges, tension, pressure, learning to cope, all those kinds of words. They're all fine. And human beings, if you imagine, let's say, a wave that goes up and down, a wavy line, we're coming in and out of stress all day, perhaps too often nowadays because everything seems to scare us. there's just too many things to scare us, not real things. Fortunately, we don't live in a country where there are tigers and lions and snakes and spiders in your shoes, like Australia. Not saying the other animals in Australia, but that spider in your shoes. Imagine waking up, Savia, in the morning, and there could be this spider that likes to live in your slippers. And anyway, I'm a catastrophizer.
I don't mind it at all because I think we've all had. I remember waking up and having a spider on my back, which was pretty scary. Yeah, there was a spider. It must have come through the window, and that's a long story. We'll save that for another. Joy's face, wow. But it's a good thing I'm not scared of spiders. There you go.
I'm not scared of spiders either, but I don't like them to be in my bed.
It happens. It's warm. It's winter time coming now. It's warm, and they're gonna come in naturally.
They're gonna have a short life.
Oh wow! I'm not allowed to kill anything. Buddhist.
Oh, you're a Buddhist. You're a Buddhist. You can't kill anything.
I'm not allowed to kill anything, so I had to put it in a glass.
Well, I tell you what. I'll send them your address.
Oh wow! Okay, yes, a special delivery. Special delivery.
That will teach you.
Yeah, that will teach me.
I'm a Buddhist. Come in. Oh my God,
come
another
in.
Spider.
Come and have some food.
I'm a Buddhist. Come in. Oh no, not another spider.
Oh boy. So Joy, 17.9 million working days were lost in the UK due to stress, anxiety and depression in the UK in 2019. That is 51% of the work-related illness cases in London. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
When I was reading that, I didn't even know that. And then
it's a big number.
That is a huge number.
That's half.
Yes, 17.9 million people have stress or have been stressed, work-related.
Is that shocking though, Savia, given that I've just said it's a physical thing that happens to the body and therefore we shouldn't be surprised that every now and then the body does its thing to help us out. It really thinks it's being chased, okay?
True.
So another client said to me and really made me laugh. He said, "Oh, Joy, I read the book," he said. And he said, "Joy, I now get it. Your body doesn't know the difference between you being chased by a lion or being chased by a deadline, like in business, not a dead lion. It's the way I speak. Deadline, at work. Get it done now, Joy. It doesn't know the difference. Is it a tiger or a lion chasing me? Or is it someone saying to me, get on with it, Joy, or else you're sacked?
Yeah.
My body responds in the identical way because this body is very, very basic and simple, hasn't progressed. We got this 21st century mentality going on about us being, we're all that, because we wear clothes and we have cars and we have televisions. But our bodies are saying, hey, if you give me just a sniff of an idea that you might be scared, there might be some danger, there might be some concern, there might be some worry, guess what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to give you some adrenaline. So adrenaline is the hormone that goes into your body that kickstarts the stress response. So don't be surprised at that figure, Savia. I mean, I look at that figure and I think it sounds high because it says 50%, but really I would say 100% of people get stressed because it happens to all of us. What we're looking at though, Savia, is the way in which it's become a problem. So the problem is that if you're going in and out of a stress state without any breaks in between, it's becoming more and more chronic. So there is positive stuff that happens with stress because you can be, getting married, having a baby, getting a promotion, they're happy events. So why do we get stressed when that happens? It's to do with doing new things, doing new challenges, having to rise to it. And then therefore you have to tell yourself something about the event. Because you can be quite, I don't know, you're married, Savia. I'm not married. I've been with my partner for so long, he just won't marry me, but I have to try and do it on next time. That was that Valentine's Day thing?
29th of February.
Anyway,
Do it on the 29th of February.
I have to ask him, but anyway, that's a long story. Why did I share that?
It's good you did actually, because I'm sure there's many people that can relate to that.
Positive stress.
Yeah. And getting married and being with someone for a certain period of time and not being married. All of these things are part of our life cycle and we're all trying to understand why and what. I was speaking to my friend about it the other day. She's been with her partner way longer than I've been with my partner, but she still isn't married. And my partner's like, she wanted to get married, and I was like, hey, yeah, let's do it. Okay, cool.
Fabulous. And I know that even though that's a happy event, perhaps the process of arranging it, being there, feeling a bit nervous. So that's a happy event, but it doesn't stop you from being a little bit worried, a little bit nervous, a little bit excited, because excitement and also nervousness, they can feel like the same thing in the body. So one of my big tricks, and I told you the last time probably, Savia, was that
Yeah,
when you're in that kind of state, think about, am I excited or am I just nervous? You know, so if you were a rock star going on the stage, a lot of them quit the business, the music business, because they can't bear that feeling that we all get when you feel like sick and you can feel your heart racing and it's thump, 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 thump,
yeah.
thump.
When you're about to
They
go on
can't bear
stage.
that just before they go on. But really, some other people will translate that as that's excitement. And I'm sure if you can remind yourself of exciting situations that you've been in, it does feel a bit like that, doesn't it? You're kind of like, oh, you're like,
Yeah,
fluttery and your heart and you're excited and your voice, like my voice has just gone up because I'm thinking about something that's exciting, things that I've done that make me feel good. And yeah, it just makes I kind of just, my voice has just lifted. I kind of heard it myself. You probably heard it. But anyway, that proves to you how good the imagination is at creating your world. So my imagination tapped into a memory and the memory got pulled out with all of the emotion attached to that good time.
yeah.
And I actually was just living it when I was talking to you.
See, that's how it should be. That's exactly how it should be. What are the positives and negatives about stress?
Positives. Well, I think stress, when it's working for you, okay,
Mhm.
i.e., an appropriate situation where you should be terrified, frightened, i.e., a lion or a tiger, you know, staring at you, eyeballing you basically, is that you can run. It gives you an amazing amount of energy. That's why we can get quite fidgety.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God, oh my God, I'm fidgety. That energy that suddenly goes whoosh, you're meant to run, okay? Or you're meant to stand and fight. So it gives us strength as well. So if we really were going back to the days when we had to hunt for our own food, it's either eat or be eaten,
that's
Savia.
true.
You know, that could be my dinner or I could be its dinner.
Wow.
So that's the good thing about it. So alertness, focus, strength, all that kind of stuff. The downside is that if you allow the hormones of stress, adrenaline and cortisol, to be inside your system for too long and too often, that you can just constantly feel jittery.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
again, I have clients that say, I just feel nervous all of the time. I'm thinking, wow, okay, you could be, I call it swimming in adrenaline, like an adrenaline soup just in your body. So yeah, of course you feel jittery because the body's acknowledging this hormone, which is meant to make you a bit, you know, hyperactive and a bit fidgety. It's
Yeah,
there. So you need to get rid of it as quickly as you can. Normally, if you ran away, it would dissipate because if you ran up a hill away from something and then you were trying to get your breath back, your body would acknowledge that you'd calmed down and that there was no danger. So you have to be able to do that for yourself as well. And the bad side is that you can get chronic stress. So it goes from being okay to not being okay. And then the next level up from that is from chronic stress to burnout, which you've probably heard. So
yes,
different degrees of just acknowledging that my body does not need to have this hormone there because now this hormone is breaking down the cells in my body. So it creates illness. Basically, that's all it does. It creates illness because it affects the cells in your body. And people that have got chronic stress will feel tired a lot of the time. They've lost interest in things. Um, Sometimes they don't even realize that they're there, at that point. But they can be quite negative. It's they just can't get happy, but also they're tired.
yeah,
And the thing in the body that's happened is that we have a gland called two little glands called the adrenal glands, and they give out the adrenaline. But once you've exhausted it, actually worn it out, lost too much of it, it's affecting that part of your body, the adrenal glands are kind of like, not say empty, but low.
Yeah.
So the tiredness can be to do with that. They call it, I think, adrenal fatigue. But lots of things I remember and then I forget and remember and I forget. But I think that's right. I'm sure one of your listeners will pull me up on it.
No, I love that. Talk about having a fresh perspective. So that's something that I would like to talk about. Having a fresh perspective on when things happen, when you get stressed, documenting your stress so you know exactly when it's happening and what to do when it is happening, Joy.
Wow. Is that a question, Savia?
Oh, well, sorry.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but I don't know. Is that a question you're asking me, or is that a statement?
Yeah, it's definitely no. It's a question. I think it's a bit of both. It's a statement and a question at the same time. So I'm trying to say is, what would you say to people about having a fresh perspective, but also being able to document their stress, so that when they know it's happening, they can document it to say, okay, this is what's happening to me, and I know what to do next.
Excellent. Okay. So, yes, the answer to the first bit, should I have a fresh perspective on stress? I would say the answer has to be yes, yes, and yes, simply because that scary figure that you threw at us earlier on about, 50% of people, just experiencing it, being off work, you name it. It's like, wow, don't you think you need to question why it's so high?
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps because it's normal to be stressed. Okay, that's probably one of the biggest reasons. But also the fact that people are also pushing themselves a lot and they are trying to live up to unrealistic production standards. They may be feeling compelled to work hard. I think human beings just want to do something that's fulfilling,
That's
okay,
true.
and they want to feel good about themselves. The fact is that, unfortunately, if I'm going to be just very black and white about this, your employer pays you to turn up, to do job X, Y, or Z, and that's it.
Yeah.
They're not your best friend. They're not they're not your lover, unless you get all the lines crossed, and that's another story. That's like one of those films,
Joy,
isn't
where's
it?
this going?
One of those films, isn't it? Sorry, I watch a lot of television. I like a lot of stuff. So, yeah, so basically, you turn up, I pay you XYZ, Savia, you
Yes.
go home. That's it. Don't get to thinking that you have to overwork to please me, you have to do XYZ. I pay you, you go home. When you break down, you are like the vacuum cleaner, Savia. I will chuck you out and I will buy a new one.
Wow. As that is really black and
Sorry to
white.
be so cruel to anybody that employs anyone, but hey, wouldn't it be nice if people didn't think about human beings that way? And I
Yeah.
know that I'm acknowledging all the good companies out there that do not treat their employees like that, be quite honest. And there are some companies that are really good to you get people, they've worked for their company forever. Why is that? Because they treat them well. They like what they do. They feel they're doing a fulfilling job. They can see the whole picture of why what they do contributes to the whole. Human beings need that. And I think that's what's missing. A
Yeah.
lot of the work that we do has been literally dehumanized. I know that we passed it on to machines, and that's another issue about machines taking over the jobs of humans.
True.
But there has to be a sense of fulfillment from doing what you do. Otherwise, I think it creates depression.
That's true. I totally agree. Which kind of leads me on to my next question, Joy, which is about you have an exercise in your book.
Savia,
Yes?
I'm
Yeah,
keeping an
what
eye on the time.
I know, I can see. Yeah, me too, actually. Yeah. Okay, guys, I've got the 30-minute challenge with Joy. So if this podcast, excluding the intro and outro, goes over 30 minutes, then I've lost the challenge, okay? Now Joy's put it out there. Now I'm going to get a lot of people emailing me or messaging me saying, Savvy, you can do this.
You
Oh,
can do this.
Oh, you lost the challenge. So
23 minutes
23
and 40
minutes.
seconds.
Right. So we've got 7 minutes left, just under 7 minutes. So Joy, I've only got maybe one or two more for you, which is, could you explain to me the exercise about the lifestyle self-assessment that you have in your book?
Okay. Right. In the book, it's called the SEA. So God, I've forgotten my title now. Savvy, you've got to remember what it's called. Oh my God. Anyway, it's called SEA, but you're assessing your own stress at that moment in
Mhm.
time. And I'm going to have to kick myself after this interview. But anyway,
Hey.
let's just say if you want to measure something,
Mhm.
you need to know where you start. So you always
Yes.
have to have a baseline. Okay. So whatever kind of scale you use, and it can be the simple one of a scale from 1 to 10, where 10 is huge and 1 is small.
Mhm.
You want to look at a problem in your life. Let's say I'm having problems with talking to my sister. Okay. And
Yeah.
it's causing me stress because I miss her, or, you know, she normally brings my dinner around and I'm not getting my dinner anymore, it's stressing me out. So that's a problem. I want you to assess how big that is on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is it's a huge problem and 0 is like it's nothing, joy. So I might decide that that problem for me is a regular stressor in my life. Um, it's a 7. Okay. Now that might be at the beginning of the challenge or beginning of the, let's say, the month when you're going to be addressing your stress, because you're looking at how can I affect my own stress. But hopefully by the middle of the time, well, week 2, week 3, week 4, of using some of these ideas that I am responsible for the thoughts that happen to me. I am responsible for the emotions that happen to me. I am responsible for the actions that I take. And I hope you heard me say responsible quite a few times,
Yeah.
because a lot of us are very good at blaming other people. So this cycle is all about you and you acknowledging, becoming aware that this is about you.
Mhm.
So I'd be looking at my thinking, I'd be looking at my emotions, I'd be looking at my actions. Now, my thinking is that my sister ought to bring my dinner round. She's always done it. Why isn't she doing it? That thought might be making me feel quite angry at her, actually, and quite irritated and annoyed. And what I might end up doing is basically, perhaps sending her nasty text messages, or perhaps, telling, I'll say slagging her off, but, calling her horrible names to everyone. Oh, my sister's this, my sister's that, to everyone. So that's a nice little cycle that keeps me locked into it. I would encourage you to find another way of looking at that problem. What you just thought, that first thought I had, is there another way of thinking? Well, actually, my sister doesn't owe me anything. In fact, you know what? She's been an amazing sister up until this point. It's just been that one time that she forgot my dinner on a Sunday when I was hungry, and now I hate her for, forever.
Mm.
So you begin to look at your thinking. What part do you play in it? Now, once I've got an alternative way of looking at it, it's probably going to generate a different feeling, which is I feel more kindly to her. I'm like feeling a bit happier. I'm feeling calmer. And because I'm feeling that, then I behave differently, a different action. So I no longer do what I was doing, which was going on to, my WhatsApp group and saying horrible things, or, I'm no longer just in that space. And then we can go back round again and say, okay, what are you thinking now, Joy? Like second round. Actually, I love my sister. Oh, when I think I love my sister, what do I feel? I feel amazing. I just feel so calm, happy, smiley inside. I feel I want to go out and just challenge, do things in the world. I'm so motivated. And then what do? Actually, I've gone round to my sister and I said, I'm so sorry I've been awful to you. I want to be, this is a nice positive cycle of events that starts to happen. So I hope that explains the challenge. And I should remember the SEA challenge, self something. So I think it's stress energy assessment. It's just come back to me. Stress energy assessment. So SEA. And I like a lot of things to do with the sea and to do with stress and the tides. And I just love all of those imagery. So I think I've done it, Savia.
I think you
28
have.
minutes and 9
28
seconds.
minutes. See, look at that. Look at that. That's good. So, my last one for you, Joy, before we leave, is where can everyone find your book if they really want to go and buy it? And I encourage everyone to go out and buy it. So, Joy, it's all yours.
Okay, so the book is called Navigating Stress, and you'll find it. My name is Joy Langley. All good bookshops. I would say Amazon, but I won't plug them, but I've just said it. Obviously, other good bookstores in the UK and internationally have got the book, because I got signed up by a publisher.
Woo,
Hey!
woo. Joy, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Yes People podcast. I think we're about to do it. Yeah, I think we're about to do it. So I'm going to say my outro and hopefully it will cut in line. I've got a minute. So guys, thank you so much for listening to the Yes People podcast. Please remember, you can subscribe and leave us a review on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and any other platform that you prefer listening to. Please also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can also donate to the Yes People podcast by simply going to the Savvy Rocks website or just typing in paypal.me/Us People Podcast or donorbox.org/Us People Podcast. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another.
Now's my time, now's my time, time to let it go. Now's my time, time to let it go. Now is the time for me to focus. Stop all that playing hocus pocus. Stop doing it yourself. You need a little help. This time I want to see you shining.
You gave me a 30-minute challenge, and that drove up adrenaline in both of us, but it was good stress, good adrenaline, where we both were like, come on, we can do this, which brought out the positivity and the excitement in both of us to turn around and say, we're going to do this, we're going to win this challenge. And a lot of life is about that, and a lot of being in the workplace is about that. You have a deadline at 3 o'clock, okay, I can do this, I can get this done, they just gave it to me, but I'm going to get it done. And that's what adrenaline is. And adrenaline soup is like you're drinking the energy in your body to get things done. And that's a good perspective of seeing life. You're drinking energy in your body to get what you need done, so the client or your boss is happy enough to say, you know what, well done for doing what you've done, or well done to yourself for doing, because you know you could get it done.
You know what, that is so, and that's why it's good to share ideas with other people, because they have a different perspective on it. That's brilliant.
Open those eyes, see the light. Ignite that fire inside it. Let it breathe breath into life. Push all your fears to the side. Control your mind, it's all alright. Enjoy your life, the joy is mine. Commit to you, you got the tools. Everything you do, you make the rules.